Today we are making Danish Aebleskiver. This is part of my new series where we are making new recipes together. So we're gonna go ahead, jump into the recipe, and then we'll talk about everything that I learned. This recipe was really easy to put together, and don't worry, I will link all of my measurements and instructions in the description below. To start, you'll want to combine flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt into a bowl. Take a whisk and mix all of the dry ingredients together. Then add 2 cups of buttermilk, or alternatively 2 cups of heavy cream that have been combined with lemon juice or vinegar for at least 10 minutes, which is what I did. You'll also want to add in melted butter, but don't forget it in the microwave like I did. More on that later. Add in 3 egg yolks and put the egg whites in a KitchenAid bowl or mixing bowl and whisk until fluffy, about 2 minutes using the machine. It may take longer by hand, but definitely doable if you don't have a mixing device. Mix the wet and dry ingredients together and then gently fold in the egg whites. It's okay if there are a few clumps on the egg white fluff. You just don't want to overmix here. Then take the batter to an already heated pan. As you'll see, you'll want to make sure it's not too hot or too high. Add in the butter or oil to each slot to ensure it doesn't stick. Use skewers, knitting needles, or 2 forks, which is what I did, to gently turn them over and cook on each side. I did about 2 minutes on each side, which worked out very well. You can also add fillings to the donuts, which turn out really delicious as well. Once fully cooked, take the donuts off the pan and set on a plate to cool until ready to eat, if you can wait that long. So the first lesson that I learned is not to have the heat too high. As you can see, these are a little bit burnt. Luckily, that was my only batch like that. Thankfully, I learned that I need to turn it down. I put it down to about 1 on my gas stove. If you have electric, you might want to play around with that, but definitely let it heat up enough. The second thing I learned is that you can cook it without butter. I was melting the butter in the microwave as I was making the recipe and I totally forgot to add it, and these still turned out really good. I'm sure they would be even more delicious with half a stick of butter in there, but they did still turn out. I think because I was adding butter and oil to each of the slots every time that I put it in there. So I do think that that kind of compensated for the butter that I forgot to add, but definitely I would probably put it in if you remember it. The next thing that I learned, the fillings are really good. I made a lot of just regular ones because I wasn't sure how my kiddos would like the filling, but the strawberry jam that I put in one of the batches was really good. It was really easy to add, and I just put a little bit of batter on top of it. I filled it probably like 1/2, 3/4 full, put a little bit of batter on top, and then flipped it over when they were ready. From a timing perspective, about 2 minutes worked really well for me on my stove. So I would try to do the 2 to 3 minute range depending on how hot your stove is and what kind of pan you have. I'm working with a cast iron Aebleskiver pan. So for what that's worth, it probably gets up to a higher heat generally than maybe a nonstick or other material might. I would probably double this recipe if you have a large family or just people that eat a lot. With me and my 2 toddlers, I think the regular recipe will be sufficient. However, if my husband was here, I would probably need to double it because I know between the 2 of us and if my toddler was really hungry, we would probably demolish these really easily. Obviously, you can also add some protein to this to make it more of a complete meal. This is definitely more of a sweet dessert type of breakfast, but it was still so good and worth it. If you also have a large family, I would consider getting 2 pans if you really enjoy this and you want to make it often. because just like regular pancakes, it is a little bit of a labor of love in the fact that you do have to kind of stand there and make a lot of them. So most recipes call for either using like skewers or like knitting needles to turn it. I found that using 2 forks worked just fine. It took a little bit of finesse to like figure out how to nicely turn it, but once you get the hang of it, it's really not that bad. A lot of recipes also recommend a quarter turn instead of doing a full like half turn or whole turn, I guess. I don't know. Half turn. And I just did a half turn. The recipe that I watched last night on YouTube did a full turn, seemed kind of easier and maybe just a little less work with 2 kids running around. So for me, that worked out fine. But just so you know, they do usually say quarter turn and using like some sort of skewer. But you kind of got to work with what you have sometimes. And that's just like, that's okay. Overall, would I make these again? Absolutely. These were really good. I think these are going to become a family favorite. My daughter's over here eating them. But I look forward to kind of playing around with some of the spices in here. I think like a cinnamon sugar one would be really good. Maybe put some peanut butter inside. I've also seen lemon zest and cardamom in a lot of the recipes. I didn't put it in this one, but I think that that would be really good as well. If you liked this series, let me know. I think I'm going to try to make this a weekly thing where we try new recipes together. If you have made these before, drop down your tips below. I would love to learn from you. And if you have a suggestion on what I should try next, because there's a lot that I have to learn on cooking still, please let me know in the comments. I would love to look at what you want me to make. If you really like watching cooking videos, I'll link my weeknight playlist up here for you to go ahead and take a look. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like and subscribe so that you can see more videos like this. Until next time.